Tom Brady is a fantastic quarterback. He's a 42, 43-year-old quarterback that maybe has another year left with that arm. Now, he believes he has 2 years. And he also wants to make some of the money back that he practically gave up staying with the Patriots. Now, there were stories coming out with New England, I think, the last couple of days that New England, Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady sat down. And after the meeting, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady did not come to an agreement. And everybody knows Bill Belichick runs the organization, and he makes the last decision when it comes to player and player personnel. When you look at Tom Brady, you can't take away from what he has done for the New England Patriots and that organization and Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft and really what the transition of the pocket quarterback. And to me, it's a dying breed. It really is. Because I was just talking in the last segment, the quarterback position has transitioned. It's different. Now you can't just be a pocket quarterback. When you have these linebackers going in the combine and running in the combine a 4.47 or a 4.53 or something of that magnitude, you have guys of that size and that stature running as fast as wide receivers. And they're about 50, 60 pounds heavier. So the athletes that are coming out of college now are faster, bigger, stronger.
And what it is a lot of those athletes now are the ones playing quarterback, too. They're being groomed at younger ages to play quarterback, too, because of that athletic shift in the league. Usually it's just the running backs, just the receivers, just all the defensive players. Now they're having good athletes play quarterback, too. It's not just you have to have good arm accuracy. It's not just you have to have a big arm. They have coaching and they have athleticism to make that work.
And you look at Tom Brady, and you look at Drew Brees, you look at Ben Roethlisberger, who is a mobile quarterback.
Right.
I think he's the closest thing of mobile when it comes to that class of quarterbacks that we've seen in the last 15 years. Because you talk about Phillip Rivers, he's not a mobile quarterback. You talk about Eli Manning, he's not a mobile quarterback. When you talk about Peyton Manning, he wasn't a mobile quarterback. Brees, Tom Brady, these guys were not mobile quarterbacks. The transition of the quarterback position really came from Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger changed the game. And I know everybody says, well, there were mobile quarterbacks. Yes, Steve Young was a mobile quarterback. Johnny Unitas, who was the first mobile quarterback, the great mobile quarterback that he was a mobile quarterback. There were mobile quarterbacks in the NFL, but they were also pocket quarterbacks. And that, I think, is starting, as everybody looks at the transition of the game with football. In the 80s and the early 90s, it was a defensive game. It was more about the defense. Now when you look at the new age of quarterback, and you could see the numbers from quarterbacks right now. You have Jameis Winston that almost has the same numbers as Terry Bradshaw. And Terry Bradshaw played all those years and he won 4 Super Bowls. If you look at Jameis Winston, his numbers are very close to Terry Bradshaw. And I'm not saying he's as good as Terry Bradshaw because he's not.
Right. We're comparing the arrows here.
When you look at the numbers and the transition of numbers, they're completely different. It's completely ballooned from what the NFL was in the 80s, the 70s, and the 60s to today.
I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is top 50 all-time in touchdowns because of the era he played in.
It's amazing. And that doesn't mean that Ryan Fitzpatrick is a Hall of Famer.
No.
Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick had a lot of good years. I would say out of the 12 years or 11 years he's been in the NFL, and he's played for practically every NFL team.
I think he's played for more than a quarter of the league or something like that.
If you look at his career, I think 4 or 5 out of the 12, he was a Pro Bowl player. He really was. I mean, if you look at his numbers, does that mean he is a Hall of Famer? He's not. And the same thing with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston had 5,000 yards thrown this year, but over 35 interceptions or 32 interceptions he threw this year. He threw just as many interceptions as he did as touchdowns. The game is transitioning. The NFL wants to see more offense. They want to see the mobile quarterback. They want to see the excitement of what the quarterback can do in and out of the pocket. And now you're seeing coaches and GMs look at it. Look how Russell Wilson has transitioned the game and the speed of the game at his position. Well, everybody wants the next Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's 5'8". Why do you think the Browns drafted their quarterback last year? It's definitely not because of his size. When you look at the quarterback position now, it's not about how big the quarterback is. I know a lot of NFL GMs are looking at the size of the hand, the size of the body, if he can look over the offensive line. Kyler Murray was the number 1 pick last year. How big is he? 5'8", 5'9"? I mean, he was size.
5'9".
I think at the combine last year, he was 5'10". It's not about size anymore. It's not about how strong your arm is anymore. The NFL GM wants to know if you can be a leader, understand the game, understand play calling at the line of scrimmage and audibling the play calls, understand what play action is, and being in the shotgun at certain times and speeding up the line of scrimmage when there's 2 minutes left of the game and you have to make a play to win the game.
You have to know some RPO concepts too with all these coaches now as well.
The game is completely different. The best quarterback in this coming draft is Joe Burrows. Joe Burrows is probably going to go number 1. Is he a pocket quarterback? Yes. Is he going to be successful in the NFL? I don't know. Now, he proved in the national title game that he can run outside and inside the pocket.
And he can make tough throws, too.
But could he do it in an NFL game with faster talent, faster competition, better competition? Only time will tell. My answer to that is a 50-50 chance he will not be a good quarterback in the league because he's not a mobile quarterback. And it's easier to plan against a pocket quarterback now than it is against a mobile quarterback because a mobile quarterback can do more inside and out of the pocket. When you talk about Tom Brady and Drew Brees and the free agents that are available this year, I'm looking at the free agents right now. You have Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ryan Tannehill, Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, you're looking at some of the top 10 free agents right now is Dak Prescott, which I don't know how he's the number 1 free agent. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ryan Tannehill, Jadeveon Clowney, Amari Cooper, Byron Jones, Brandon Sheriff, AJ Green, and Yannick Ngakwe, whatever his name is, from the Jaguars, who's probably going to be franchised.
And then probably wants
traded.
Out.
And probably traded.
So the Jaguars will get a 4th-round pick out of him.
When I look at the big picture right now, and you look at the free agency market, and you look at these quarterbacks like Phillip Rivers, Jameis Winston, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ryan Tannehill. Have you ever seen this many veteran, top-heavy quarterbacks available at the same time in an offseason?
And it could make it hard for them to find spots, too, because there's a lot of teams that need quarterback, but there's also so many veteran quarterbacks out there all at once, all at the same time. And if they have these newer type coaches, they might not go for something like that. Carolina, Chicago, they have all these younger coaches, more modern concepts, so everyone's linking veteran quarterbacks to them where that might not be the case. Even a team like Tampa, even though Bruce Arians has worked with pocket quarterbacks in the past, he still has done a lot of creative concepts as well with the skill players they have as well. So it'll be interesting to see if those guys get a chance as a result of the new wave of these coaches as well.
We understand why Tom Brady wants out of New England. If he decides to leave New England, we understand why. He doesn't want to be in Bill Belichick's shadows anymore. He wants to win without him. I think he wants more money. I don't think the Patriots are willing to give him $30 million a year, what he's probably going to be offered by the Vegas Raiders. And I say Vegas Raiders because that's where they're going to be playing this year. And they're looking for a superstar to really build their team around for the next couple of years in their new stadium. Now, I do believe that if Tom Brady goes to the Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr will be available. And I've been saying this over and over again. Derek Carr will then be the best quarterback available this offseason. And that means teams like the Patriots, teams like Tennessee Titans, or even the Miami Dolphins, who everybody keeps talking about drafting a quarterback in the draft, you can get yourself a top-tier, top 10 quarterback right now for probably a late first-round draft pick and maybe a third or a fourth.
Yeah. I mean, the Dolphins, you might have to offer more if you're the Dolphins, but a team like Tennessee could definitely afford to do that with their roster pretty much set beyond that, with the exception of a couple defensive players. So they could afford to do something like that. Would Miami? I don't know, because they still need a ton.
And there's also a rumor that Jimmy Garoppolo might be on the trade block if Tom Brady decides to go to San Francisco. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Tom Brady goes to San Francisco, which he grew up a San Francisco 49er fan. He grew up a Joe Montana fan. Everybody knows the story behind Tom Brady. He wanted to break Joe Montana's Super Bowl records, and he did. He broke all of Joe Montana's Super Bowl records and championships. And Tom Brady's one of the great quarterbacks we've seen in a very, very long time. And some people call him the king, or whatever they call him, the GOAT. I don't think he's the GOAT. I think he's a top 5 quarterback, and I can't really look at the transition of the game and choose Tom Brady over Johnny Unitas or Joe Montana or all the Peyton Manning or all the other quarterbacks that grew into the position over the years as well. But he's one of the best. But wouldn't that be funny if Tom Brady goes to San Francisco and Jimmy Garoppolo goes back to the New England Patriots?
That would be ironic.
It would be very, very interesting. And
they play each other this year, too.
And the stories are coming out that San Francisco is interested in Tom Brady.
I think the Patriots were even not dangling him, but they actually had a legitimate offer for Brady at the time the 49ers traded for Garoppolo. I think they had a legitimate offer, but the Niners, I think, didn't want to give them that much. And then they ended up giving just the 1 second-round pick for Garoppolo instead as a result. So they like the same things, apparently. And we'll see if that ends up happening again. That would be absolutely crazy.
Well, Kyle Shanahan's offense is very identical to Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very alike in their play calling. And Tom Brady
types, yeah.
Tom Brady would fit like a glove in San Francisco's offense. They need to add some wide receivers. They're going to need some help on the outside, especially with Tom Brady, the way he likes to throw the ball. But I wouldn't be so surprised if San Francisco is another team that could sneak right up and grab Tom Brady in free agency. He always wanted to play for San Francisco. He would love to win a championship in San Francisco with arguably one of the greatest franchise we've seen in the last 30, 40 years, even though they haven't won anything in the last, I would say,
they haven't won since
16, 17 years.
I think it was.
So they haven't won anything in the last over 20 years, if it's 95.
95, yeah.
But this is going to be a huge story, and I believe when free agency opens up in about a week and a half, you're going to see a lot of these names completely move on from their team and their organization. And don't be so surprised if Tom Brady does move on. There are stories coming out of New England that he is on his way out. I don't care what Julian Edelman has said. That he is staying there. I can't see it, especially knowing when you're hearing stories now that he has sat down with Bill Belichick and they're not coming to an agreement after that meeting.
And that's only showing that Belichick is still going to stick to his ways no matter what ends up happening. Tom Brady's been his guy for obviously almost 20 years, but he still has his system that he likes to operate by, micromanaging the entire team. Only paying certain guys and rarely paying guys at all, and just building through the draft the way they've always have. And you could tell when Garoppolo got traded, he was annoyed because he was grooming him to be that guy. And maybe if those crazy rumors do happen, they can get him back. But the Patriots are always going to stick by this system as long as Belichick's there. And it's proving that he's not just going to overpay or just grant benefits just to one player.